Today we're going to talk through the song Yes I Will by Vertical Worship. This is one of my favorite current worship songs. I like it a lot. And chord-wise, it's pretty simple. And there's something interesting happening with your right hand to create that intro lick as well as carry you through the whole song. So we'll talk all about it and then we'll play through the full song a little bit later in the lesson. You can download the chart in the description. And as always, you can find courses including this drum pattern that we'll talk about on guitarman.com. So if you haven't, check that out and let's jump in. So this song is Capo 5 using G shapes, which would put it in the key of C. What I'm going to do, you need a capo either way. I'm going to move this capo down to the 2nd fret. Everything will be the same. This will put it in the key of A. As you can, if you followed some of my videos, I like to sing sometimes a little bit lower than the original keys. They're just so high sometimes. So the real great thing about a capo is you can choose how high or how low you want a song to be simply by moving a capo. It's one of the nice things about guitar. So I'm going to move it to the 2nd fret and show you all the chord shapes. And let's talk through it. So now we're in the key of A. And as far as chord shapes, this song is in the key of G, but you're starting with a C chord. So that's a little bit unusual, but actually if you look at a lot of praise and worship charts, this is kind of a common technique. It's 4, 1, 5, 6 minor. That's the chord progression that you'll see. Or if you're talking about G chords, it's C, G, D, E minor. And the reason why that's popular is because it's a 4-chord progression that goes continually. In other words, it never sounds like it ends because it's starting not on the 1 chord or the G chord. Everything leads up to the G chord in the middle of the progression. So it's a little bit hidden in the progression. And then it makes you want to keep going because the 1 is hidden, so to speak. So let me show you what I mean by that. 4 rather, 4, 1. There's the 1 chord. That's what your ear wants to hear to tell you everything is resolved and good. So 4, 1, 5 to 6 minor. When you end on the 6 minor, your brain tells you to keep going. We're not there yet, and we're not at the 1. And when you start on the 4, when you start a progression on the 4, it allows you to keep going. So this is why, chord-wise, the song's pretty easy. It's the same 4 chords for almost the entire song, and they can get away with that because of this trick in songwriting of starting with the 4, 1, 5, and then ending with the 6 minor. And again, you'll see this in other songs as well. It's a common practice. As far as G chords, it's C. I'm using a C2 to G, to D or D sus, and then to E minor or G over E, which I use a lot instead of E minor. Another trick I use, and they'll use this in the chorus as well, is a C slide. So instead of C, you slide it up to 2 frets for a D. Now, let's continue with your left hand because what's happening in this intro is some hammer-ons. That's when you start with the finger off and it hammers on to catch the string. So with your C2, what's actually happening is you're playing a C2 with your pointer finger off. You play. You're not strumming all the way down. You're just strumming the first few of a C. And then your pointer finger catches the 2. And then you answer with an up. So down, up, and then you're at the G. And then you're doing the same thing with the C slide. So C slide, you could also, you're really just worried about these first 3 strings that you play on the C, so you could actually do that with the same fingers you use for your C chord and just slide those up to E minor, or you can do the actual C slide, it doesn't matter really. And go to an E minor or a G over E. Nice thing about a G over E is it puts you in position for your C2. So if you're doing that, that's taking you through the intro or any of the turnarounds. And then as far as the rest of the song, it's the same idea as far as when your fingers switch from chord to chord. but your right hand is a little bit different. The strum pattern's different, and you'll notice in this chart, you'll see a little hash mark. It kind of looks like, I guess, a greater than sign over top of the second chord. Now, this sign represents something in the Nashville number system that I teach in my courses. What this represents is that second chord normally would just share beats in a measure. So if two chords are in a box, the first chord gets 1, 2, the second chord 3, 4. They share those beats equally, but when you have that little mark, what that means is that that second chord comes in an eighth note sooner than it would otherwise. This is called a pushed chord, or an eighth note pushed chord. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, it's going to come in on the and of 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. There's a couple ways to do this actual strum pattern. If you just get into a 16th note kind of shaker groove, you can kind of count when that and of 2 happens. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Or if you need more help with that, again, go to guitarman.com, subscribe, and I have full lessons on just that strum pattern and easy ways to get through it. But you can just, for now, practice that rhythm, that 16th note rhythm, and just changing your fingers when it's time to change them. Again, this song, the chart might look a little bit complicated, but it's pretty easy. Again, it's the same 4 chords over and over with a pushed 8th strum pattern, or pushed 8th chord that's in the box. And once you get the hang of it, again, it'll carry through the whole song. So I'm going to be in Capo 2 for this example. So if you want to join me, put your capo on the 2nd fret. We'll use G shapes, and let's play through the song together.
I count on one thing, the same God that never fails will not fail me now. You won't fail me now in the waiting. The same God who's never late is working all things out, working all things out. Yes, I will lift you high in the lowest valley. Yes, I will bless your name. Yes, I will sing for joy when my heart is heavy all my days. Yes, I will. God never fails, will not fail me now. You won't fail me now in the waiting. The same God who's never late is working all things out, working all things out. Yes, I will lift you high in the lowest valley. Yes, I will bless your name. Yes, I will sing for joy when my heart is heavy all my days. Yes, I will for all my days. Yes, I will, and I choose to praise, to glorify the name of all names. Nothing can stand against. I choose to praise, to glorify the name of all names. yes, I will.